So, Lindsay, not the first try from the DA to investigate the public protector. Remind us why this never got out of the starting blocks before.
Yes, Shahan, the DA tried already in the 5th Parliament to institute proceedings against the Public Protector. That request went to the Justice Committee at the time, which felt that there weren't sufficient grounds to investigate the Public Protector, and so that matter was taken off the table. When the 6th Parliament started earlier this year, the DA again attempted to put forward a motion to investigate the Public Protector. And it was the Public Protector herself who warned Parliament that it didn't have any rules to deal with such a situation. While the Constitution does make provision for the removal of a Chapter 9 institution head, there is at the time there was no process to deal with exactly how Parliament would go about doing such an inquiry. And so then Parliament set to work on initiating and drawing up those rules, and that is what they were considering for the last half of last year, and those rules finally adopted in December. And no sooner were those rules adopted did the DA put forward again another motion to look into the Public Protector's fitness to hold office. And it is now that motion that Speaker Thandi Modise has finally acceded to, has agreed that there is probably substantive reasons from the DA that can initiate proceedings in this regard.
So what kind of support can we actually expect this motion to receive?
Well, as we know, the DA vehemently opposed to Busisiwe Mkhwebane from the very start when she was first nominated for the position. And so they rely heavily on cases that we now know have passed through the courts, adverse findings against the Public Protector. But we do know that the EFF may be not so convinced that Busisiwe Mkhwebane is not the right person to hold office. And we've seen in recent times the party coming out in defence of the Public Protector, certainly in Parliament at any rate, and with regards to certain findings that she has made against President Cyril Ramaphosa, also Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan. So not likely to get too much support from the EFF. The ANC, I think, will adopt a very cautious approach, probably allow the proceedings to unfold, and then quite possibly quite divided on whether Busisiwe Mkhwebane should stay or go.
So what happens now in actually getting this process off the ground?
Shahan, I should point out that this is probably not going to be something that's going to happen very quickly. What will happen now is that a panel will be established to look at prima facie evidence against the Public Protector. That panel, I should point out, is not the panel that will decide whether she is fit to hold office or not. Rather, its job is to look at the evidence that may suggest that she isn't. And so we can probably expect the DA to put forward their arguments, any other parties to do the same, that grounds on which they believe Mkhwebane shouldn't be in office. The Speaker has now written to political parties. They have been given the option of nominating people to sit on this panel, and once that panel is established, it will in 30 days have to come up with a recommendation to the Speaker as to whether proceedings should be initiated proper in terms of establishing an inquiry into the Public Protector's fitness to hold office.
And no doubt, like before, the Public Protector will defend herself in Parliament.
She will not at first be granted an opportunity, I would suspect. This panel, as I said, purely to look at evidence on the table, but certainly should it get to the stage where an inquiry is initiated in terms of Section 194 of the Constitution, yes, of course, she will be afforded the opportunity to make presentations to Parliament. I should point out that this is really uncharted territory. Never before has Parliament looked into the fitness to hold office of a head of a Chapter 9 institution. And so this process going forward will really, I think, lay down the way things could look in future should Parliament decide to investigate any other head of a Chapter 9 institution. So, as I said, unprecedented, uncharted territory, but certainly we can expect the Public Protector to have her say. She's not one to hold back. She has previously threatened Parliament that if it went ahead to initiate these proceedings against them, she would take them to court.
All right, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Lindsay Dentlinger is in Cape Town.